So yeah, I look a little bit different. I got a hair transplant in Turkey, and I wanted to talk about kind of my journey, my experience, getting the hair transplant, traveling to Turkey, and why I did it. I've been dealing with hair loss ever since I was like I started noticing it when I was 22, 23. Actually, the first time I noticed it was my girlfriend at the time. When we were dating, she's like, oh, I was walking in front of her and she's like, oh, you have like a bald spot on the back of your head. And I was like, no, I don't. Like, no way. Like, don't worry about it. Let's keep, doing our thing. Kind of brush it off. But over the next couple of years, like 23, 24, 25, I noticed in a lot of my photos and videos that, my hair was starting to recede, right? And I sort of expected it. My father did have hair loss when he was 30. By the time he was 30, he had quite significant hair loss. I sort of expected to get it, but I definitely didn't think about it too much. I kind of still lived my life and was still, really confident and whatnot. As I started YouTube and started recording myself more often, I noticed it more and more, right? And I became more and more self-conscious about my hair loss. And, I wanted it to go away, to fix it, right? As I got older, like I really started noticing it like 25, 26, 27. It started really to recede. And I definitely became self-conscious about it. It definitely affected my confidence. I'd wear a hat more often, and especially out in public. On my videos, I didn't care as much, I guess, because there was no one really here. So even though if I thought people were judging me because of my hair loss, at least they were behind a screen and they weren't here. But in person, it definitely affected me. Being on the screen a lot, I wanted to fix that insecurity, right? I wanted to have a full head of hair. I wanted to be as I was back in high school and college. I did some research. I started taking medication for the hair transplant to see if it would fix it, and I didn't really see any results. And, I kept watching other YouTubers saying, oh, I got a hair transplant, or I got a hair transplant, here how it was and stuff like that. So I thought to myself, I could get one too. Why not? Around about 4 to 5 months ago, I started doing some research online. I started watching videos and reading blogs and whatnot about hair transplants, and over time researched the topic more and got more comfortable with what it was going to be like and how it was. So then about 3 months ago, I started looking around. I started looking at clinics. I started calling clinics in Canada, in the US, and Mexico, and Turkey. And I got a couple quotes. And the reason for Turkey was the cost, mainly the cost. The clinic I talked to in Canada wanted, I think it was like $13,000 for my hair transplant. I could have afforded, but I just didn't feel like spending that much on it, to be honest. So called some others, and then I found this one clinic from Turkey. Their name is Hair Niva, and they were much more affordable when I talked to them. I did a couple video calls with them, and they said, send me pictures of your hair and whatnot. And over time got more comfortable with them. But the cost was the main factor, me going to Turkey. I was going to save a lot more money than just doing it here in Canada. So anyways, I did a couple of video calls with them and met the general manager and met the doctor as well. And we went back and forth. They were very, welcoming, and they asked me lots of questions, which is good. I asked them lots of questions. How's it going to work? Cost, when will I see my results and whatnot. And before you know it, I was on my way to Turkey. We talked for a couple times, and I just was so confident. And they were like, let us know some dates that you can come down. And I did that, and within, I think after we spoke 3 weeks later, I was down in Turkey. So it was last week. So my surgery finished last Friday. So it's been about 6 days, 5-6 days. So what you're seeing right now is 5-6 days out. I have a lot of scabbing from the kind of the skin healing. So what you're seeing here is hairs, but it's also scabs, and the scabs are falling out as I shower and whatnot. But I went about 6 days ago, and I'm here to talk about the journey, what it's like to get a hair transplant, and I'll go through all the details with you step by step. So I flew down to Turkey. Meanwhile, this was by myself. I did not go with anyone, so I was definitely very nervous. I asked 2 of my friends if they would come, right, just to keep me company, and they could not get the time off work, and it was kind of too short notice. So I could have rebooked, I guess, but I want to get this done in ASAP, especially with it being the summer. I wanted to get done kind of as soon as possible, right? So I fly down by myself. They arranged a driver for me at the airport, which was super nice. So I was on WhatsApp the whole time talking with the general manager. And they were like, let me know when you arrive. We'll set up a driver. And I was like, cool, this is awesome. Like, this is really easy. So I get to Istanbul. It was very nice, very nice city, very nice airport, very clean. Yeah, so I get there and then I'm messaging the general manager. He's like, yeah, we got a driver for you. Like, just meet out here at this space. So I go out to the airport, meet the driver into the van. We drive. They take me to a hotel. They booked a hotel for me as well, which I kind of knew was included, but I didn't really ask about initially. But they booked a hotel for me. So we get there. I got there at like 10 p.m. Turkey time, and I was up like 24 hours prior. So as soon as I got to the hotel, I fell asleep. And as I was driving, they were like, you know, they said, meet me in the lobby for 8 a.m. Up, shower, and then I meet the general manager. His name was Umut. Yeah, Umut. At the lobby at 8 a.m. So I met him. He was very professional. He was in like a full-on suit. I mean, not a three-piece, but he was in a suit. He's pretty fancy. So I met with him. He was super nice, and he said, welcome, and we're excited to have you today, and you know, we're excited to see your results too, obviously in the future, when I get my full head of hair once it grows in. So we meet and we're like, yeah, awesome. We go into the clinic, the clinic was actually in the same hotel. It was just downstairs, like I wouldn't say the basement. It was just the way the hotel was. It was kind of on a hill. So the actual hotel entrance is on like the second or third floor. And then the clinic is down below. So we're like, yeah, the clinic's here, just going down the elevator. I was like, cool. I thought we had to like drive somewhere, but we didn't have to. So I get down to the clinic. He sits me down and he says, you know, today we're doing a hair transplant for you today. It's probably going to be 2 sessions, and it was 2 sessions because how much hair I lost. So the actual surgery was 2 days. He said, then we like had to sign some papers. I had to show my passport and whatnot to kind of verify my identity, obviously. After that was all said and done, we went to take photos. Yeah, we took photos because we wanted it for before and after. So we went to go take photos. I met the social media manager, who was awesome. He's a great guy too. We had a bonding moment about cars. So yeah, we took some photos of my hair before, like non-shaved, just as is. After the photos, we went to see the doctor, and the doctor analyzed my hair. He kind of took like not a microscope, but I don't know what you call those, but something where you can zoom in. So like he could zoom into my hairs and see how many hairs I had, and basically make sure I was a good candidate for the hair transplant surgery, because not everyone is a good candidate, right? If you don't have enough hair to actually transplant the hair, they may not, you know, accept you, right? So he took a look at it, and he said, yep, good. You have enough hairs on your back of your head to do the transplant and whatnot. There's 2 main surgery types with hair transplants. There's FUT and FUE. So FUT is, and if you didn't know, transplants, they take hair at the back of your head, usually at the back and sides of your head, where your hair is more stronger. It's less resistant to testosterone, DHT. And that's what causes hair loss, especially in males, is the DHT blocks I believe it blocks the blood from reaching the hair, and eventually the hair dies, right? And doesn't regrow. And that's how you get bald. So hairs at the back and side of your head are more resistant to DHT. And that's why they use for hair transplants. So they'll take out the hair from the back or sides, and they'll put it at either the crown, your bald spot, or like the front. And so FUT is, they take a strip of hair, where FUE, they take a hair one by one. And I was getting FUE. Now they did advertise, or they did mention a couple of times, it's going to be using a DHI technique. Okay, so it's still FUE, but DHI, if I recall correctly, is a special kind of like, it's almost like a pen where you can like easily extract and put in hairs. And it's like, I think it's a tool, it's a machine. So it's called a DHI. But they said we're going to be doing DHI, but it's a method of FUE, if you will. Yeah, that's sort of how hair transplants work. Okay, I'm not getting new hair. It's existing hair. They're just moving it over to the front and crown. With the doctor, he was analyzing my hairs. He's like, yep, you have enough hairs, you're good. Then they drew like a line where my hairline's going to be and where they're going to extract the hairs. So it was like a blue marker. And then I was able to look at it in the mirror, and it looked good. It looked very natural, and kind of where my existing hairline was. You know, if you guys remember, it still kind of came in the middle, but obviously my temples were quite receded. So it lined up perfectly with the middle beforehand. So that's what happened next. They did the line. Then they're like, we're going to shave your head, because it's easier to do the surgery with a shaved head. So I went into another room. shaved my head. And I think we took more pictures after the shaved head too. And then that was that, and the surgery started. So, you know, it was, I think when the surgery started, it was like 9 a.m. We got into the clinic at 8 a.m. and we started at 9, and it takes a long time. It's usually a whole day event. We went into another room. I met the nurses. I already met the doctor, but I met the nurses. So the nurses pretty much the anesthesia, and then the doctor would like actually do the doctor surgeon would actually do the hair extraction and the hair transplantation, if you will, insertion. Yeah, I basically lie down flat on this bench, and the general manager was still with me, which is kind of cool. He walked in with me and he's like, all right. Meanwhile, he's speaking perfect English. I didn't mention that. He spoke perfect English. The doctor spoke some English. The nurses spoke some English, but the general manager and the social media manager spoke perfect English the whole way. But the doctor could understand me and the nurses as well, but they didn't speak as good. So I lie down flat on like, you know, a bench, if you will, and you could see through obviously to the floor. And this is where, you know, a lot of you are asking like, you know, did it hurt? Did the hair transplant hurt? So I lied down and they're like, all right, we're going to put local anesthesia in you. I believe it's lidocaine. I could be wrong, but local anesthesia. They're going to extract the hair from the back and then put it at the front. And so they put the local anesthesia in. It was like, it honestly felt like a stapler. It was like they're stapling my head. There was pain for sure. I did feel pain. It was short, but it was painful. So they would like staple like do all around and after about 5 minutes, my head went numb. So it only hurt for like 5 minutes, but there is pain. You're going to feel pain. But yeah, they would do the staple, and then I think they did a needle afterwards. So I think the staple maybe opened it up, and then the needle, there was a needle after, and maybe that was the actual anesthesia. I think that's how it works, but I could be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. But it was like a 2-step process. But yeah, that definitely hurt. But after 5 minutes, my head went numb, and my head felt big. And the rest of the surgery, they just started extracting hairs. I could hear sounds and stuff like that, but I didn't feel anything. I felt like someone was just pushing my head. I felt a little bit of pressure. So that was that, and they did the extraction. So they extracted all here on the sides. You can see that, you know, a little bit of texture change, but that's what they extracted. Now it's not all the hairs. My hair will grow back here. It'll be a little bit thinner because obviously they moved it up here and here. But because I have so many hairs here, it's really hard to notice. So yeah, they started back here and they did the right side. And then that took maybe, I don't know, there was 3 or 4 hours. And then they flipped me around and they're like, do you need water? Do you need to go to the washroom? I got some water. I felt, I don't know, I didn't really feel much. Like I was maybe a little bit dizzy, but I was still pretty much there. I was awake the whole time. And they flipped me around. And then they said, okay, we're going to do the insertion phase. So that was the extraction. Now we're going to do the insertion phase. Same thing. They did the local anesthesia, but this time up at the top. So staple gun, needle, hurt. But after 5 minutes, it went away. And then they started inserting. And the first part they started with was the crown. And they did half of the front. So they did, in the first session, they did the crown and half of the front. Okay. And from what I recall, they told me, I think they got like 2,300 grafts on that first day. So they told me after they extracted it and flipped me around, you know, hey, we got 2,300 grafts. Now a graft can have, doesn't mean 1 hair. A graft can have up to 5 hairs actually. I think the average is 2 to 3 hairs, but so 2,300 grafts could be upwards of 10,000 hairs, ideally, probably not, but it's more likely 4,000 to 5,000 hairs if you average 2 to 3 grafts or 2 to 3 hairs per graft. Yep, they did that. They did half, and then that was it. I felt a little bit of burning sensation, but that was pretty much it. They washed me off. Like they used, I think, they didn't wash my hair, but they'd used like a spray. It's probably like a saline spray. They said, yep, we're all done. We'll see you tomorrow to finish up the front. I don't know, 3 or 4 p.m. when I finished. So that was like, what was that, 6-7 hours? 6-7 hours to do that. And then they fed me too after that was done. And they said, yep, go in your hotel room and we'll see you tomorrow. You have to sit upright as well. That was, you can't sleep like down because, well, number one, you're gonna have like blood and stuff like that. And number two, you don't want the grafts moving. So you have to sleep upright. And I had a bandage too on my head to protect it. Went up into my hotel room and just kind of chilled the rest of the day. They gave me pain meds too. And then I went down for the next day, same time, 8 a.m., met at the lobby, met the general manager. And he's like, all right, we're going to finish you up. We're going to do the rest of the front. That was that. They fed me again. Then they said, tomorrow we're going to wash your hair and we're going to go out too. They're going to take me out to Istanbul and kind of visit the city. The second day, we finished the second surgery, I go back to my hotel room. Once again, I have to sit upright with a neck pillow and kind of my pillows up here and made sure it's not touching. Now this second day, I had a very bad headache. My head was throbbing when I got back to the hotel. And it's probably because of the head trauma that I had. And this was my second day too. So the first day I had the surgery, and then the second day they're still doing more surgery on my head, right? So like 2 days in a row of head trauma. So I'll be honest, when I got back to the hotel, my head was throbbing, but they did give me pain meds and I took one like every couple hours. And by the second or third one, the pain went all the way. Then the next day, they said, we're gonna do your wash, come in at 11 a.m. So it was kind of cool. I got to sleep in a little bit, if you will. I just chilled in my hotel room, and to get there, they washed my hair. They just put, I think it was foam, and they would just pat it on. So they didn't want to move the grafts at all, but they would just pat it on, and then they sprayed on my head. It obviously burned a little bit because at this point they took off the bandages. So the bandage took it off, and then they were spraying, and it did burn. And once again, it wasn't like typical shampoo where you're lathering and stuff like that. She would just pat on the foam, this foam cleanser or whatever, and then just like wash it off with it was like a really light, like a fountain, if you will. They did that, I felt a little bit better. And then they took more photos, sort of like the after, surgery photo, day one, to Istanbul, and I got to see the city. So what I looked like then, so it's been 2 days of surgery, and the swelling was coming in. I sort of looked like a Megamind or bruh guy from Hey, It's Arnold. So my head was pretty swollen. My forehead was pretty big. My flight back home was pretty rough because remember how I said the swelling was in my forehead? Well, the next day the swelling went to my eyes. And I used to have a goldfish that had pretty bad. Like I couldn't, my eyesight was going because I was swelling so much on my eyes, and I have glasses. So like it was actually kind of hard to see while I was in the airport. And the actual, like when I got to the Istanbul airport, they couldn't recognize me because I was so swollen on my eyes and I didn't look anything like my passport. They asked, did you have surgery? Did you have a hair transplant? And I said, yes. And I even showed them like the doctor gave me a document, like a written letter saying, hey, we performed surgery and whatnot. So after I gave them that, it was pretty easy. But people, I was definitely noticing people were looking at me. If I could go back, I would probably stay in Istanbul for 2 or 3 more days just to have more time to visit the city and for the swelling to go away. But I went back pretty much the next day. So on day 3, I could shower, but I wasn't allowed to. A, I wasn't allowed to shampoo my hair, and B, I'm supposed to like either get a cup or a bowl and put water over my head and not use like the shower head, because the shower head water pressure is a bit too rough. And once again, you don't want to move the grafts. You don't want to move the new transplanted hair in there. I would just grab like a bowl and just like lightly put water over my head like that. And they gave me shampoo and foam and actually a really cool kit, like post-op care, which I recorded a video on as well. Like oil, vitamins, serum, and a derma roller, which was really awesome. So it was really nice of them. Day 4, the swelling went away a little bit. It was kind of in my cheeks now. I started noticing scabs, which you see today. This is day 6. Yep, so then I would just keep doing as I was. I can't wear a hat. I can't go to the gym until 2 weeks out. So it'll be pretty much a whole nother week, which will suck. It's really tough. Basically just been inside. And yeah, I just wash my hair every day. Now I can put shampoo on it and slightly lather it. And obviously you can see the scabs here. Some of these are hair, some of these are scabs, and the scabs are slowly going away. So it may look like I have dandruff, but it's just these scabs. Hopefully, I'll keep posting progress. I'll probably do a 6-month and a 12-month progress as well. But I won't see most of my results probably till the 6-month mark. So it's going to take a while. But overall, I'm happy to, have my hairline back, my confidence. And when I'm on camera, to know that I have my hair back like I was in high school and college. And it's a blessing that you can pay to fix this insecurity, right? So a lot of guys go through this. And if you're watching this and you maybe have hair loss, hopefully this could help you share some knowledge, get you more confident about maybe going through a hair transplant, you know, giving you some insight of what it's like. But I'm happier than ever. I look in the mirror and I'm like, wow, like I have my hair back. This is awesome. It's been an insecurity of mine for a while. I've definitely been self-conscious about it. I'm glad that I can fix that and kind of just move on with that, you know, turn the next page. And the clinic's name is Hair Neva. Definitely, I recommend them. I was very happy with them. They treated me like a family. They treated me like a king, to be honest, picking me up from the airport and whatnot. And everyone was super nice, smiles on their face. They spoke really good English. And I really bonded with them. And I wish I spent more time in Turkey to kind of hang out with them or go see the city more, but they did an awesome job. And I'll put a link in the description for their clinic if you want to talk to them. This is a little off topic. I mostly make, you know, trading videos, and this is my first video that's really off topic, like really personal. So this is very different for me, but I did want to share it with you and be transparent with you. And just sort of open up to you guys, because I feel like I haven't done that, and be more of a human and less of a trading robot, if you will, a trading bot. So yeah, that's the video, guys. Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next week. Bye.